One of the most often voiced criticisms of Clara Oswald as a character is that Stephen Moffat kept overusing her, that she was given too big of a role in the overall Doctor Who mythology, too big of a role in the Doctor's life. Not only is she the impossible girl, with countless echoes saving the Doctor's life all throughout his past and future, but she's also the one who stopped him destroying Gallifrey, got him a new regeneration cycle after using up his original 12, and spoke to him as a child in the episode Listen. People argue that this gives the character too much power over the story. Now, as a fan of the character, I wouldn't mind even if this were the case, but I don't think it is. And here I present my reasoning why. So join me, if you're interested, as I give my perspective on the question, is Clara Oswald really overpowered? Now to be fair, it seems as though most people are okay with the Impossible Girl thing. Very few people I've seen seem to have a problem with it. However, Clara having echoes spread all throughout the Doctor's timeline, past, present and future, always saving him, means that she is, in some way, involved with every adventure he's ever had or will have. Not to mention the fact that this means she's met every single Doctor, something not even the Brigadier's accomplished, as far as we're aware. This naturally would have a massive impact on the Doctor's life, and therefore the mythology of the show. And I'll admit, when you look at it a certain way, it does come off a bit like somebody's fanfiction. However, not all of this is necessarily true. Firstly, we have no idea how involved each Echo Clara is with each adventure. Given the fact that the Doctor didn't even notice her until the Matt Smith incarnation, I'd say it's safe to assume that most Echoes are only involved in an indirect, largely imperceptible way, with only certain ones being more directly involved as and when needed. Whatever their level of involvement, so long as what they do saves the Doctor and undoes the interference of the Great Intelligence, it's all good. It's not like they're saying Clara's now a fundamental part of how the Doctor wins every week, just that she's always been looking after him. She's not now critical to every plot and resolution ever, she just aids in his survival. They're not even saying she's the only one who ever saves or has ever saved him. We already know for a fact that others have done so as well. Taking this interpretation helps reduce Clara's influence on the wider series. Of course, she's still saving his life all the time, but is that really that big of a deal? Saving the Doctor's life's something that any guest character could do, and has done. How was saving the Doctor multiple times any different to saving him just once? Nobody points to the hostess from Midnight or Rogan from the Ark in Space as being too important, when the Doctor wouldn't be alive now if not for them either. If one of them hadn't saved him just that one time, he'd be dead anyway, regardless of how many times Clara saved him up to that point. That one time is just as important, so clearly, saving the Doctor isn't a big deal, however many or few times you do it. Which begs the question, if Clara saving the Doctor's life is enough to give her too much influence, surely that would also apply to every character that's ever saved him ever. And she is just saving his life. She doesn't step into his time stream with the intention of making a massive impact on his history. All she's thinking about is saving her friend. It's very much about the moment that she's in. The Doctor's hurting now. The Great Intelligence is destroying him now. I need to save him now. It's not about him or his timeline or any of that. It's about what's happening in that moment and what she can do to fix it. While she might have an infinite amount of echoes saving the Doctor at other times throughout his life, she herself is only saving him the once. And really, that's largely how the episode presents it. Which is telling, don't you think? There's no focus or mention of this making a great impact on the Doctor or his life. It's played simply as one girl trying to save her friend from this one thing this one time. And really, that's all it is. Those echoes, whilst created by her in her image, with her personality, would strictly speaking count as separate characters, as they're individual people living individual lives in different time periods and locations, which means she hasn't actually met all the Doctors. The only Doctors she's met are the 11th, the War Doctor, the 10th and the 12th. Suddenly, it sounds an awful lot less like fanfiction. So apparently, Clara's actions in the name of the Doctor aren't that big of a deal. It would certainly seem that the Doctor feels this way, seeing as he never really mentioned it again, and he certainly never held Clara in a higher regard than any of his other companions after it happened. If it didn't make that much of a difference to him, why should it to us? This one, I'll admit, is slightly harder to argue. This is a very pivotal moment in the Doctor's life that deeply affects him going forward from the day of the Doctor. It's even made explicit in the Zygon version that the Doctor feels deep gratitude towards Clara for her part in convincing him not to blow up Gallifrey, unlike her efforts in Name and Time of the Doctor, which she seems to forget all about. That said, while the Time War is in the Doctor's past, because the past Doctors forget the adventure, it really only affects the present Doctor. While she helped him change his past, it really only affects his future, which doesn't make it any different from any other companion's contributions. Rose helped the Doctor get over the Time War, made him a better person again, thus influencing him going forwards, as did Martha when she helped him get over Rose, and the Doctor was/is immensely grateful to them for these things. Nobody claimed these achievements made these characters too important, so clearly, affecting the Doctor's future is okay, which is all that Clara does in Day of the Doctor. So yeah, okay, Clara does have a massive influence here. But how's that different to anyone else? I feel as though many of the points I made concerning the name of the Doctor also apply here. When Clara gets the Doctor his new, potentially infinite regeneration cycle, isn't this just her saving his life again? Haven't we already been through how that clearly isn't that big of a deal? If helping the Doctor regenerate when he shouldn't be able to is enough to make you too important, then surely that also applies to the Sisterhood of Khan, who literally brought the Doctor back from the dead in the Night of the Doctor and helped him regenerate then. Can't say I've heard them receive criticism for that. Also, much like when she stepped into his time stream, when she pleads with the Time Lords to save the Doctor, she does it with no intention of helping the Doctor live forever. She just wants to save him from what's happening now. She doesn't even explicitly ask for a new regeneration cycle specifically. She just generally asks for help. And that's the other thing. This time, she has help. The Doctor getting his new cycle couldn't have happened without the Time Lords either, because they're the ones who did all the work. They're the ones who actually gave it to him. Clara just asked for it, albeit, as we've established, not specifically. And really, do you honestly think the Time Lords spent 900 years watching the Doctor grow old without it ever occurring to them that they could just give him a new cycle to help him out? It would be in their interest to help him. They'd be helping him help them. Chances are they were already working on giving him a new set of regenerations centuries before Clara came to them. They were probably listening to her thinking, yes, alright, give us a bloody minute. It's also worth considering that the Doctor surpassing the regeneration limit was inevitable. Everyone knew it was going to happen eventually. They had to deal with it somehow, and really, it was only ever going to be just to get it out of the way. And that's how the episode treats it. The 12 regeneration rule is barely given much more than a passing mention. The focus of the episode and its marketing is that this is the Matt Smith regeneration, not the 13th, and as such, not many people made all that much fuss about it, that I was aware of anyway. Dealing with the regeneration limit was only ever going to be housekeeping, nothing more. They only really deal with it at all because they have to, otherwise the fans will bitch about it. To them, it clearly wasn't all that important. It's very much played down compared to the rest of the episode because of how inevitable everybody knew it was. So why does it matter that Clara had a hand in something nobody really cared all that much about? Now this is one I've really been looking forward to talking about. Clara talking to the Doctor as a boy. People have complained that this scene, more than any other, was a step too far for the character. Both characters, actually. While some complained that this bordered on revealing too much about the Doctor's origins and childhood, others complained that Clara was given yet another massive achievement by being the one to essentially create the Doctor. Well, first of all, she really only repeats what she's learnt from the Doctor, things he said earlier in the episode. So really, it's more a case of the Doctor creating himself via Clara. Those are his words about fear. And they are only about fear. There's lots of things that make the Doctor who he is, such as the way he sees the universe and can find the beauty in anything. We even see it earlier on in the episode when he's talking about the dark. You wouldn't see the stars without it. You can even find a positive way of looking at that, for crying out loud. And if you've ever watched The Time Monster, you'll know where this all started. An ancient old hermit who lived under a tree showed him how to see sloppy old grey snow as shining white. Taught him how to see the beauty within things. So even if Clara did create the Doctor, she didn't create all of him. And that's all based on the assumption that the child we see even is the Doctor. From the internal logic of the episode, following Clara's thoughts and timeline took the TARDIS first to Danny Pink, then to Orson Pink. One person she knew, and another the person she knew was connected to, but that neither of them had ever even met. If we continue to follow this logic, of the telepathic circuits taking you to people you don't know, but that your friends know, it's entirely possible that the child might not actually be the Doctor at all. It could merely be somebody that he knew, or met. It could be the Master, or the Rani, or Romana, or somebody. It could be one of these guys. All we know for certain is that the child is a Gallifreyan that nobody thinks will make it as a Time Lord. That could be any number of people. And Stephen Moffat did this intentionally, because he knew some fans would love it, but that others would hate it. He's even said that he doesn't think such mysteries about the Doctor should be revealed. While the episode makes a very strong implication that this child is the Doctor, it's never explicitly stated. There's a very intentional ambiguity here, which means you're free to view it whatever way you like. In other words, if you don't want any part of this, Clara included, to be the Doctor's true origin, then it doesn't have to be. You're free, nay, you're invited to discount and disregard it if you don't like it. That's the beauty of such ambiguous plot points. You get to choose. It's customizable continuity. When you have the ability to choose what's correct or not, there's absolutely zero reason for you to be mad, because you can freely ignore anything you don't like. Only an idiot would willingly make something they didn't like part of their headcanon. Whatever your problem with this scene is, it's immediately rendered invalid, because it's only a problem so long as you make it a problem. As always, we have to consider how and why such things came to be in the show, the real-life truths behind the stories. I think it's telling that the characters, the Doctor particularly, don't make a big deal of the things Clara achieves. It tells me that her ending up being the one to do all these things wasn't by any means intentional, or part of any kind of grand scheme to elevate Clara above all other companions. I believe it's just a simple case of the writers, Moffat, deciding to have the companion do something cool each time, and Clara just happened to be the companion who was there. It's not like they're saying she's the only one who could have done those things. Any companion could have, just as she could have done anything they did. These moments are more about who she is than what she's doing. In other words, she's a good friend, a brave girl, and caring person. So of course she would do those things. Save the Doctor's life, talk him out of doing something bad. That's the kind of person she is. She cares about her friend. That's what those scenes are motivated by, and what they're really about. Her love for her friend and the things she'll do to protect him, make sure he's safe. It's the fact that she's this sort of person that makes her a great companion, even without these achievements to her name. These achievements are really just incidental things, merely the way the writers chose to demonstrate the sort of person she is. In that way, they're actually relatively unimportant. Like I said, it's not the actions in themselves that are the true focus. The focus, the point, is why she's taking those actions, doing those things. That's what's important. Remember, before he realised the mystery about her, it's her personality that led the Doctor to offer her companionship in the Snowmen. Yes, this was one of her echoes rather than Clara herself, but they all share her personality, so it still counts. I think all these things go to show that the writers have only ever done what they've done with her to demonstrate the kind of brave, caring person she is. Whether or not these things have a major impact on the wider mythos isn't the issue here. and I don't think it ever was or has been in the writer's eyes. So let's recap. The Day of the Doctor and the Time of the Doctor are examples of Clara only making important impacts on the Doctor's life going forward, something that's supposed to be okay, given the precedent set by characters like Rose and Martha. So, those two are off the hook. That goes double for the Time of the Doctor, as the Time Lords are just as pivotal, if not more so in that moment, than Clara is. Really, Clara's impact on the Doctor only differs to that of other companions in regards to what she's affecting. Whereas previous companions have only ever had powerful effects on him going forward, Clara is in the largely unique position of having an impact on the Doctor's past as well, something which is considered sacred. So let's summarise those examples. Lissen's immediately invalidated based on its ambiguity, and while her actions in the name of the Doctor show explicitly that she had some effect on the Doctor's past, there's ambiguity here as well. We don't really know the extent of her effects. So, as with Lissen, we have the opportunity to interpret it whichever way we personally like. If you want her effects to be minimal and non-intrusive, you can have it that way. So it would seem that these examples too are off the hook. But here's the thing I don't get. Even if the ambiguity in these moments weren't there, even if the child in Lissen had been explicitly stated to be the Doctor, even if Clara's echoes just saving the Doctor's life was a big deal, why would it matter that Clara got to do all these things? What power does it actually really give her? Why is it bad for her to be important to the mythology as a whole? Why does a companion's influence have to be limited to just one moment or crossroads in the Doctor's life? How is creating a character with such a large influence such a bad thing? Why is it bad for there to exist a character that he owes so much to? What does it take away, or undermine, or ruin? What does it change about the series or the Doctor as a character? I just don't see what the problem's supposed to be here. Or maybe I do. I'm inclined to think that the truth of the matter is this. People don't have a problem with a character having a large influence. Their problem is that it's Clara. If you don't like a character, any character, of course you're going to object to them getting credit for doing a lot of important things. Conversely, if you like them, you're not going to mind, are you? It's just another thing that makes them awesome, that proves that they're awesome. I don't think it's Clara's influence that people have a problem with. It's Clara herself. Personally, I don't see how you could have a problem with her, but then you might be wondering how I could possibly like her. But that's a video for another time. I hope you enjoyed this video, and maybe even took some of the points I made on board. And perhaps some of you can answer my closing questions from a moment ago. If any of you have a response or counter-argument you'd like to make, feel free to post it in the comments section below, in a polite and reasoned manner, as I've endeavoured to do here. Thank you for watching.